A lot of people assume that fly fishing is a really complex sport. It's like nuclear physics, but outside. To prove that it's not though, and that anybody can learn how to fly fish, I brought my mother-in-law along with me today.
I'm so flattered right now.
Hey, you've done a lot of great things with your life. This is gonna be number 2 behind having me as a son-in-law.
Oh, okay. Super high bar. Got it.
So have you ever gone fly fishing before or fishing before at all?
I've done fishing, but not with the fly. What do you call them? Just
Fly rods. Yeah.
no, the other ones.
Oh,
with the
like
worms,
the
with
bait
the
rods?
power bait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bait rods.
I've done a bait rod.
So you've done that a couple of times, that you've never fly fished before.
Never in my life.
So we're gonna walk you through our VFC Crash Course today. We're keeping it basic and simple. We could spend a whole month teaching you everything, but you don't need to know all that other stuff to catch fish.
Okay.
At the end of the day, fly fishing is a very simple process. It's something anybody can learn, and that's gonna be the goal with this video. We've got a few lessons. We're gonna walk you through everything you need to know, and then we're gonna get out on the water and catch some fish. Lesson number 1 is casting. Now, fly casting is pretty simple. I know it might look complex on the YouTube or the Instagram and whatnot, but it really is a fairly simple process. So don't overthink it. And remember that the whole goal with your fly cast is to put the flies in front of the fish. You're not trying to be a championship caster or qualify for an Instagram post or anything like that.
A river runs through it, part 2?
Yeah, we're not looking for any of that stuff.
Okay.
We're just looking for getting your flies in front of the fish. I'm gonna show you what the fly cast looks like. I'm gonna demonstrate it for a minute. That's the way I've found that works well with teaching, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you. So we're gonna get just a little bit of line out because we do need to make, today we'll be casting probably, I told you about 15, 20 feet at the most. We're on a pretty small stream, so you're not gonna need to throw all the way to that aspen over there. You're not gonna need to throw that far.
Okay, good.
You could if you want to, but you don't need to.
Okay, maybe next lesson.
Yeah, next time for sure. So the fly rod is going to move from about a 45-degree angle in front of you.
Okay.
So about right here.
Okay.
And then I like to stop it when it's about level with my ear, just like this.
Okay.
Right?
Do you have to pull out all the line that you want right at the beginning, or you keep pulling it out as you cast?
For beginners, I've found that it helps just to pull the line out first instead of trying to pull it out while you're casting. That's adding another step to when you're already doing something that you haven't done before. So if we can keep it as simple as we can, that's gonna help.
Okay,
right?
and then when you said you like it to be by your ear, you are talking about like where the rod is next to you, because the tip's going way past.
Yeah, the tip's gonna go way past, and that's why we stop the rod right about with our ear, because if you'll notice, when that rod tip stops up in the air, what's the fly line doing?
It's coming out.
The fly line's still moving, right?
Yeah.
Even though the rod has stopped, the fly line is still moving.
Okay.
Your fly rod has to stop because we're making those loops in the air with that fly line, right?
Yep.
So that loop needs to completely straighten out before I move to the next part of the fly cast. If I just move the rod back and forth really quick, the fly cast kind of collapses on itself and you start to hear the line like snap. You hear that whipping sound almost?
Snapping is bad.
Yeah, you don't want that. We're not Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Okay?
You kind of look like him.
I know. You should see me with my shirt off. I look just like Harrison Ford from the 80s.
I actually should not.
Fantastic.
Thing number 1 I didn't need to know. Okay.
Yeah, right? So all you've got to do is move this fly rod from about 45 degrees in front of you
Okay.
to about level with your ear.
Okay.
And just move in this nice, even motion. And the last thing that we'll talk about right now is if I only have, that's about 10 feet of line out the tip of the rod. I'm moving the rod pretty quick, right? Because there's less line up in the air. So that's a smaller loop. That's less line that has to straighten out before I move the rod.
Oh, so you can go a little faster.
Yeah, you're gonna go a little faster at this point. But if I put, let's throw some more line in this. Now, how fast is that rod moving?
Slower. So are you watching
Slower.
out front to wait till the loop is gone before you pull it back?
I am, and that's a good question because as a beginner, I've been doing this long enough that I can feel the line as it straightens out behind me.
Okay.
So I know, and I've got a good sense of timing because again, I've been doing this for 20 something years. So it's muscle memory at this point. I just know what the cast should feel like and I just do it. But if you're not able to feel that, which some people can feel it right off the bat and other people have to work for it a little bit, you can watch the line behind you. And when you see that straighten out, that's when you move it.
Okay.
So it is perfectly fine to watch it. Just kind of keep your head on a swivel. That's a great way to help. So you're right-handed, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll grab the line in your right hand, or the fly rod in your right hand. And then you asked before we started filming about holding line in your hand. So you notice I've got a little bit that I just let slide through my hand like this as I'm making the cast. That's so that I can add distance to it, and I let it slide out on the first part of the cast on the front stroke. You don't need to worry about that so much, but that's why I'm holding it in this hand for right now. What we want to focus on is get about this much line out, and then you could just pinch this in between your fingers. And we just want to focus on getting this, about this amount of line to make these loops. And once we've got these loops made, then you can start letting some line go and adding distance to it. But we're gonna focus just on making the loops first. And I'm gonna stand over here and I'm gonna let you just go for it for a minute. And then I will see where we need to make any tweaks.
So for right now, you want me to just work on the loop and I'm not trying to let line out?
Yep, just work on the loop. Don't worry about letting line out. Exactly. So you're going back just a little bit too far.
Too far. Okay.
Yep. There you go. Ooh, that's looking good right off the bat.
I come from a long line of fisher people.
I can tell, actually. That's looking really freaking good.
Hey, a long line, that's punning.
No, this is really good. I'm actually, okay, we're done. Casting lesson's over. Let's go to the river. No, that looks really good, Laura. I'm actually blown away. So with that cast, a couple of things to tweak it and really put the cherry on top of this sundae of awesomeness. To get the line moving just a little bit quicker so we keep those loops nice and tight. Right now they're pretty big and open, and that's fine. But the tighter you get that loop, the more accurate your cast is gonna be, the easier time you're gonna have putting that fly in front of a fish. So what we wanna focus on is you wanna smoothly accelerate in between your front cast and your back cast. So you wanna kinda smoothly accelerate and then stop very abruptly. So you can put just a little bit more force into the cast to add a little bit more speed to the line. The rod needs to move just a hair faster to get it really good. You'll find that there's almost this bouncy rhythm to it. You kind of bounce between the first and the back cast a little bit.
Okay. I was kind of flowing one right into the next.
Yep,
not
and,
really
and it was great. This is just a little tweak
Okay.
to just tighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
So do it again, and let's see you move the rod just a little bit quicker.
Okay.
Nice, good stops. Forward, back, forward, back, forward.
So faster and gentle.
Boom, look at that. Okay, I really think you're ready for the river.
Okie dokie. Is the river ready for me?
We're gonna find out. This is lesson number 2, all about picking the right fly. But we show up to the river, you're gonna fly fish. Do you know anything about the bugs that fish eat?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Other than one of them is a woolly bugger.
So that's the only one that you know, and that's fine. So a lot of folks are in this position when they start. Not very many people are entomologists and then become fly fishermen, right? They learn the bugs because they're fly fishing. So what we do, we've got this formula here at VFC. We call it the right fly formula.
Okay.
And it's a method for getting to the water and picking the right fly out of your box. Because you got the Premier collection in your VFC starter pack,
I
right?
do.
You got a whole bunch of bugs.
I do.
It's almost paralyzing how many you have.
It was a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
I didn't
little
know
bit.
what any of them were.
Yeah, and that's completely fine. We'll get into the right fly formula in just a minute. But before we dive into that, we need to look at some bugs first. We got to find some to try and help us identify what the fish are eating.
Okay.
So we've shown up to the water, and the first thing that you want to do is you want to watch and wait for a minute. That's the phrase we like to use here at VFC. We call it watch and wait,
Okay.
because instead of just getting to the water and starting fishing immediately, it pays off to sit here and look at what's going on.
Okay.
In particular, you want to focus on what's happening around the water, what's happening on the water, so on its surface, and then underneath the water.
Okay.
So as we walk down here, what bugs did we see flying up in the air?
Tricos? Trico? I mean, I saw
Alex thought they were tricos. They were actually flying ants.
Alex.
I know, he disappointed us.
Okay. I mean, butterflies don't matter, do they?
No, the fish won't eat butterflies.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad
Yeah.
to know that. Grasshoppers?
Yes, we heard a bunch of grasshoppers. Not a whole lot else going on, huh?
No.
Now, when we got here, before the camera was on, you did see what?
Oh, the fish?
Yeah, the fish rows, right?
Yes, by the seam.
Yeah,
I
right
watched
by the seam.
I watched the seam video.
Yep,
And I was looking and boop,
the fish popped up.
popped up.
Did you see the fish eat anything?
I only assumed that's what it was doing, but I saw something come up and break the water and go right back down.
Okay, so you didn't see anything that it ate, but you saw it come up on top of the water.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic intel. That's gonna help us out quite a bit.
Okay, good.
So we've looked at what's around us, and then you saw that fish, it came up and ate something on top of the water.
Okay.
So we can probably guess that because there's bugs in the air and you saw a fish come up and eat off the top, that we could focus on putting a fly on that sits on top of the water. Was that a fair judgment?
Yeah.
Is that
It's a good place to start, at least, right?
is that where you would have started if I wasn't here?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, the last thing we've got to look for is what's in the water. So we
Okay.
looked at what's on and around it. Now we got to look at what's in the water.
Okay.
So you can set your rod down for a sec.
Anywhere?
Yeah, just set it down on the grass. It'll be fine.
Okay.
We are going to pull up a rock, and we're going to look at what's underneath the rock,
Okay.
because that will give us an idea of what bugs are actually in the water right now that are available for the fish to eat. Let's pull up.
Oh! What
Alex.
the crap is that? Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, enormous stone, dude.
I did not expect you to find a bug that big when you picked up that rock.
Right? So stoneflies are actually the biggest aquatic insect, and they're giants, just like this guy. So this guy's probably going to hatch next year. It looks big and old enough to hatch next year. They
Okay.
spend a few years on the bottom of the river before they become adults. It's
Wow,
actually
okay.
kind of interesting. We have a good idea of what food's available to the fish now, don't we?
Yes.
Between what was under the rock and what we've seen on the water, we've got a good idea. Now we've got to pick a fly out of your box that looks like the bugs that we saw dinking around underneath those rocks and maybe on top of the water. We're going to do that by using our right fly formula.
Okay.
The right fly formula is a very simple process to pick a fly based on what you observe.
Okay.
All right, there's 3 parts to the formula. The first part is we are going to look for a fly based on size. Size is the absolute most important thing. So we want to look for a bug that's roughly the same size of what we saw on those rocks underneath. Now we did see a very large stonefly nymph underneath, correct?
Yes. Huge.
Enormous. Almost as, what would you say it's almost as big as in that
It's
box?
almost as big as a woolly bugger.
No, it's, oh my. It is not.
Oh, like for real?
Yeah, for real.
Even if it's not the right color and
Yep, let's just go to size first.
rubber leg brown.
A brown rubber legs. That's pretty close, isn't it? To
Yeah.
what was in there. Isn't that crazy?
Just way longer legs, but yeah.
The legs are a little long. So this could be an option. This could be one option that
Okay.
we decide to pick. Once we've narrowed down our sizes, that's when we start looking at the shape. The shape is the next most important thing when you're picking a fly. That stonefly nymph that we saw, its body was kind of tapered, but not, it wasn't a very sharp taper, was it?
No.
No. So is that body tapered at all?
I mean, a smidge.
A smidge, not very much. So
No.
can you see something else that's big, but maybe has a little bit of a taper to it?
Does it the color super important yet?
We'll get
Just
to
going
color
by size.
in a minute. Just size and then shape.
What prince nymph.
Prince nymph?
More tapered, not as big as that stonefly.
Maybe not as
was.
big, but he's definitely got the taper going, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be an, and look at those, look at the tails on that prince nymph.
Oh.
Doesn't that look just like the tail on
yes.
the stonefly?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So the prince nymph would be a great option.
Okay.
Now the last thing, and this is the least important, the color.
Okay.
Color, if you can find a fly in this box, it's an exact size, shape, and color match, that's awesome. But if you can only match size and shape, and let's say that prince nymph, for example, a lot of green in the body, right?
Yeah.
That stonefly nymph had a lot of brown in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So based on that information on our right fly formula, which one of these bugs would you pick to imitate that stonefly nymph?
I'd have to go with the prince nymph, mainly because of the tail.
The tail looks good. It's got the little taper, right? And even though it's got a green body, there's still some brown in it, right?
And it's furrier.
Yeah.
Does that matter? Like all these little...
All the little stuff coming off it. That can give it a little bit more action in the water, might grab the attention of the fish a little bit.
Okay.
So we've picked our nymph. Now we're going to use that exact process, that right fly formula, to pick your dry fly. Lesson number 3 is all about line management. So our line management accomplishes 2 goals for us. It helps us keep a tight connection to the fly so that when a fish eats it, we can set the hook. And our line management helps us with presentation, which is, of all the skills that you learn, that's the one to focus on the most as a fly angler, because that's the one that matters the most.
Okay.
When we make this cast, we want that hopper to look like a real grasshopper on the water.
Okay. I've never seen a grasshopper on the water, so I don't know what that looks like yet.
So imagine when you see a leaf fall out of a tree and it hits the top of the water.
Okay.
Does the leaf move around at all?
Depending on the water, not very much though.
But not by itself,
Not
right?
flipping all around.
No.
No.
The leaf just sits there and lets the water push it around. That's exactly what you want to have happen with your flies.
Okay.
So we're going to make a cast. And right now, you see how that fly is just drifting?
Yes. Looks just like a leaf.
Looks just like a leaf.
Okay.
Now I'm going to add a little something to it. I want you to tell me what's different this time.
Well, you dragged it towards us.
I dragged it towards us, and what did you see coming off behind it?
The nymph.
You saw the nymph? Did you see the little wake this fly was making on the surface?
I didn't. You'll have to do it again.
All right. Pay attention to that.
Okay.
See how it's making those little lines in the water?
Okay.
That's what we call drag.
Okay.
Just like you said, I was dragging the fly through the water.
Okay.
If you see those little wakes coming off of your fly, that means it's dragging in some way or another.
Is that good?
That's not a natural drift.
Oh, you don't want
again,
drag.
the leaf's not going to do that, is it?
No.
No. So you want it to function just like that leaf. You don't want drag. So if you see a drag, that means often this is actually the worst spot to show you drag because all the current's moving at the same speed right here.
But I can tell you're not pulling it.
But usually what that means, if you have drag, it means that your fly is in one current and your line's in another. And so one is pulling against the other, causing that drag to happen.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I can make a little bit happen here.
Oh, yep, there it goes.
Yeah, you see, because the fly line was up here where it was a little slower, but the fly was down there, so it made it drag.
So is it normal to put a cast in a good spot, and then eventually it drifts into the different currents, and then you just got to pull it up and go again?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly what we'll have to do. Very good question. Now, as we make our cast, let's say I cast upstream. Now, that fly's drifting back towards me. What happens if I just let it drift? We caught up on a little snag there.
Okay,
Watch
I was
the
like,
fly
did
line.
something just grab it?
No. What happens if I just let this drift?
Well, it's coming right at you. There's probably not. Oh, your line is on the
You
bottom.
see how much slack there was?
Yes.
Now, if a fish eats the fly and I go to set the hook and there's all that slack, what's going to happen?
It's going to take you forever.
Yeah,
to
it's going
set
to
the
take me
hook.
forever and I'm probably going to miss the fish, right?
Can they come off pretty easy?
Yeah, if you're not quick on the hook set, you'll miss them.
Oh,
They
really?
come in and
okay.
hit it really quick.
Okay.
So, a big part of line management As the fly's drifting down to me, watch what I'm doing with my left hand here. See, I'm stripping the line in.
Yep.
And then I go to make my cast and look at what I'm doing. I'm letting all that line go back out, right?
Okay.
So when it lands, see how little line I have?
Yes.
And then I strip the line in. I don't want to drag, I don't want to pull.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm pulling, I want to keep up with the speed. We'll go over here, be a little easier. I want to keep up with the speed that the fly's drifting. The idea is you actually want as little line on the water as possible.
Okay.
Because that's going to give you a tighter connection to that fly. And if there's less line on the water, that's less line to get pulled by the current that could add drag and ruin your drift.
Okay.
So the less line you have on the water, the better. You're going to manage your line as it comes down to you. Last thing, this is super important.
Okay.
You see how I've got some lines stuck right there against the cork, tucked under my finger? I do that because if the fly goes under, or if a fish comes and eats that hopper, if I just lift straight up, you see how that immediately goes tight?
Yeah.
That is going to give me the best hook set possible. Lesson number 4 is all about finding the fish in the water. You might hear this skill referred to as reading water. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
Yes.
From who?
You.
When we're reading water, all we're trying to do is identify places in the river that are likely to hold a fish. There's no guarantee.
Sure.
You can get to stuff that looks super fishy and there's no fish in it. There's a lot of different water features. I could tell you all about runs and pools and riffles and glides and pocket water.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds like a blast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you don't need to know all of that stuff for your
Okay.
first day on the water.
Okay.
The only thing that you need to pay attention to is what we call a seam.
Okay.
You've heard of seams before. You mentioned watching the seam video.
I did watch the seam video.
The reason that fish like to hang out in seams, there's some slow water and there's some fast water. That fast water is going to bring a steady conveyor belt of bugs to them.
Ah, okay.
Kind of like what you do to me at Thanksgiving. I just sit on the couch and yell, "I need more turkey," and you bring it right to me. The fish are doing the exact same thing in the water. And
I should have brought some turkey.
yeah, I don't know if you know this, but the prince nymph, we actually sometimes call it the turkey nymph, so you picked a great one.
Seriously?
No, I was kidding. The fish will hang out in that slow water because they have to spend less energy.
Makes sense.
But they can dart out into the fast water, eat, and come back into the slow water.
Okay.
Today, we're gonna focus just on finding the seams and casting to them. Let's say that everything has gone according to plan.
Okay.
You've made your cast, the fish came up and ate your fly, you've set the hook. Wait, we haven't got to the setting the hook, have we? That's part of fighting fish.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about it with line management,
Yes.
but setting the hook, really, really simple in fly fishing. Folks overthink it. All you're going to do is, as you're stripping that line in, as the flies are drifting back towards you, you're gonna have some line tucked up against the cork underneath your fingers, right?
Right.
Well, when you see a fish take your fly, you're gonna hold that line tight and you are just going to firmly and quickly lift the rod straight up in the air. You're not gonna yank back, you're not gonna go all Bill Dance from the Bassmaster Classic or nothing.
That's what I was notorious for in the, what did you call that other kind
The
of?
bait casting.
Bait casting.
Yes.
I would get so excited when I felt that nibble that I went, "Wah!" And it was like, "Phew."
Would airmail the fish to a different zip code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not good. Not good.
All you wanna do, lift that rod firmly, but quickly, straight up in the air.
Okay.
That combined with the tension on the line is going to drive the hook point straight home into the fish.
Okay. So just like a back cast,
Almost the exact same motion as the back
just
cast.
not as
Yes.
far back, maybe.
Yeah, you won't lift it as far back. You'll go, but the hook will get stuck in the fish before
You'll
you get
just
that
feel
far
that?
back.
You'll
yeah,
feel it.
You'll
Okay.
feel the fish on the end of it.
Okay.
You've set the hook. You've got a fish on the line. What do you do next? Any idea?
Oh, I'm guessing I reel it in until I can net it.
You could reel it in until you can net it.
Well, I mean, not reel, but like
Yep, you're going to strip
Pull.
the line in. You're going to pull the line in.
strip the line.
Strip the line
Strip
in.
it.
Yes.
Got it.
So you're going to strip the line in with your left hand.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But there's something that you've got to make sure you don't forget. You've got to keep tension on the line the
Oh, okay.
entire time. So you've set the hook.
Okay.
You've pulled up with the fly rod. The hook is in the fish's mouth. You want to keep the tip of that fly rod up, and you want your fly rod to stay bent, because that's going to tell you that you have tension on the fish, because the fish is pulling against you and it's making the rod bend. If you just let your line go slack and your rod go slack, all that tension is going to release and the hook can actually just pop free right out of the fish's mouth. You've got your rod tip high, you're stripping the line in, the fish is coming at you. Maybe it's right here. You're going to keep that tip high. You're going to reach behind you with your left hand. You're going to grab your net. You're going to pull your net, break the magnet.
Magnet?
Yep.
Oh!
Boom. It's okay.
Sorry, babe.
It's because I'm fat. All right.
Bad net management. I'm sorry. Bad
And then you're going to
presentation.
reach in and scoop the fish up in the net.
Okay.
And then boom, you've caught fish.
Okay.
Celebrations will ensue. Parties will be thrown.
Do I put
Ballads will be written.
Do I put the rod down?
At that point, you'll have the fish in the net. You'll have the rod. You walk over to the bank and set the rod down on the bank, take the hook off the fish,
Okay.
and let it go.
And I'm keeping the fish in the water
Yep,
mostly,
keeping
right?
the fish in the water.
Okay.
It's very important that the fish stays in the water the entire time. And before you touch the fish, you want to get your hands wet.
Oh, okay.
Trout have a slime layer on the outside of them. That's why they're so slippery.
Okay.
But that slime layer is actually a health protection for them. It protects them against diseases and other problems. So if you reach in with a wet hand, you won't remove any of that slime layer.
Okay.
You'll be in business. So keep the fish in the water. If you want to take a picture of it, pull the fish out for no more than 5 seconds. Grab a quick picture, put it back in the water,
Okay.
and then let it go. You've learned your 5 lessons. How confident you feel in going out and catching a fish?
I feel mildly confident, but I think it's probably not going to be as easy when I actually have to. Like in my brain,
Yeah?
I feel like I can do this, but in practice, it might be a little harder.
You've got all the skills and knowledge that you need to go out there and do this.
Okay.
Put your flies in front of where you think a fish is going to be.
Okay.
Set the hook. The rest, as they say, is history. All right, let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay. And I'm just going to pick a place to stand and pick a place to cast.
Yep,
And just go for it.
yep, this is all you.
Okay.
Okay.
I've had my lessons. I know what I'm doing. Sure. Okay. Where the rubber meets the road. Uh-huh. And just let this go. Let it swing. Okay. Oh, that was bad. I didn't let go of this thing. I need more line. Please hold. Oh, now you're to me. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm stripping. I'm
Oh,
stripping.
set the hook, set the hook.
What? What? No, you lied. Did you trick me?
No, that was a fish.
No way. I forgot to strip.
You're stripping your line in perfectly. Where's your fly?
It's down there. Is it caught? Maybe it was caught. I was like all over the place on
No.
that.
So that was perfect. I know I said I wasn't going to say much.
No, I want you to
Here.
say a few things. That's probably too much, huh?
A little bit. So that was fantastic. You had a fish take it on your first
You
cast.
saw the fish?
Well, your fly, what did it do?
Well, I thought it went under because it got caught. The nymph got caught.
Yeah, it got caught in a fish.
Well, I didn't know that.
So if you see...
I need the
hey,
fish to be more obvious.
I didn't tell you that. That's on me. If you see anything happen to that dry fly that doesn't look natural, set the hook.
Okay. I went like full crazy. I was like, my limbs went, I don't even know what happened.
So your line management on that one was a little rough.
Yeah.
So I want to show you
Okay.
because it's a little bit easier.
Okay.
When you're pulling line out to make your cast, you were doing it like this. So you had a giant pile
Yes.
of line down here. Remember, when you are managing your line, no matter what you're doing, you always have some here, and then you just pull like this if you need to add more. Then,
Oh, because I was holding all of it.
yep.
And it didn't go
You
well.
stepped on the line, that's good.
That's not helpful
So
either.
you can let this line just sit on the water. You see how it's just sitting there?
Yep.
So then you let the line go through your hand as you make the cast, right? And last thing, I admire the heck that you were able to throw that cast so far. That was impressive as all get out. You don't need to cast that far.
Okay.
Maybe 15 feet. So maybe about that far,
But over there.
but over on the seam. Yep, I'm making the cast where there aren't fish because I don't want to take one of your fish.
Okay.
I already took your daughter from you and moved her to Wyoming. I'm not gonna take your fish.
Okay, so I definitely feel like I need to work on
The line management a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both the left hand and the right hand were not working well together.
So that's
So-
all the line that you need. So you can
I'm
start making your
holding
cast.
this one here.
Yep.
And if I need more line, I'm grabbing this one.
And pulling.
And if I have to set the hook, then I'm pulling this one.
You're not gonna pull it, you're just gonna keep it tight against that cork and you're gonna lift straight up with the rod.
Oh yeah, but after.
Yep.
After you set the hook, then you're doing this. And you
Yep.
keep to. Okay,
You
this
keep
is
tension on it.
a lot to remember.
It is, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Just practicing. I will just keep practicing.
And remember, if that dry fly does anything that doesn't look like a leaf floating on the water, set the hook.
Okay, so I don't want to hold it like this right now, right? I want to hold it like this when I'm casting.
Yep, when you're casting.
And once I let it go, then I'm going to arrange this thing.
Precisely.
Okay. I think that's one of the many things I was doing wrong. Okay. All right. Here we go
Okay.
again. Okay. Oh, stripping. Oh, crap. Stripping. Didn't strip. Sorry, not stripping. Not grabbing. I'm going to have to talk myself through this. Okay, grab, pull it out. Oh, no, stripping, stripping, stripping. Woo!
Perfect line management.
Just no fish yet. I got a fish when I went farther.
We'll work our way up to it.
Okay.
So you don't need to pull more line out. We can just walk a little closer.
Okay.
But, Laura,
Yeah.
how big is that seam?
I don't know what to compare it to. It
How
looks
wide
big.
is it?
Several feet.
Have you hit every part of the seam that you can cast to from right there?
Heck no.
So cover more of it before we move up.
Okay, so at what point do I cast again? Like, how far do I let it come down before I cast again?
Let the fly get to maybe 5 or 6 feet from you, and then you can pick up and recast.
Okay, and not fall over. Okay.
There you go. Much better line management.
So that just caught on rocks when it grabbed like that, right?
Yep, that was a rock.
Okay.
Go a little bit further to your right with the cast.
Out there more?
Yep.
More like by the foam? Okay.
Foam is home.
Foam is home.
That was a fantastic cast.
Okay.
Drifted right where it needed to. Now, we're gonna take a couple of steps up.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to come over a little bit more to this side. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Now you see these bubbles here that are closest to us?
Yes.
I want you to focus on drifting on this stuff.
So start up there, or
So
just
start
pretty
kind of
close?
closer to you. We'll work our way up.
And
Okay.
and just let it go past me until it drags.
Yep. And just let it drift down through this stuff.
Do you ever catch a fish when you're just walking to another spot?
Yes.
That would
I
be
am
lovely.
that good.
Hey, get off my shoe.
They'll hit it sometimes. like
You are
that.
that good.
And we don't need it to go very far, right? We don't have too much fly line out.
That wasn't far enough, was it?
That was a little too far to the left. You want to be in those bubbles.
Okay. Oh, maybe that was just the rocks.
That was just the rocks.
Okay.
It's perfect. Set.
Oh.
That was a fish.
Frickin' I tangled it too.
Fish 2, Laura 0.
At least 2. Well, that wasn't far enough over. Come on, fishy.
So let's take a couple of steps up this way. He was right there.
What?
Hey, you know how you asked if I catch a fish while we're walking in between spots?
Son of a gun.
That's exactly what happened right there.
Oh, that's going to catch a fish. Come on.
That
Come on. That was a good one. Come on.
was fantastic.
Come on.
Set.
Oh, that's the rocks right there.
Yep. But that was a good hook set. Did you feel that tension?
Yes.
Yep. That's what you're going to feel when there's a fish on.
But then it's not going to just pull off the rock and go
Nope.
away. It's going to keep being tense. Oh, that's
Perfect.
such a good spot.
That is a wonderful spot. Eat it and you're cool. Make my mother-in-law's day. That was a fish, Laura.
I felt like it was, but
Why
nothing
didn't you
was
set
on.
the hook harder?
Oh, set the hook harder. Okay.
Yeah, that was a fish right there.
How can you even see those? I can't tell if you're being serious with me.
No, that was a fish. I wouldn't joke about you hooking a fish today. Set.
Rock, maybe? That didn't give me any tension at
Okay.
all.
Pay attention to that. When that flies in the water, keep all eyes on it.
Yep. I'm trying to do this line thing without looking at it.
You are doing great. A little tricky because
Yes.
we've got a much smaller area to make our cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But do you see a seam right here?
Yes.
Yeah, really easy to see.
Foam to no foam.
So we're gonna make a very short cast. You
Okay.
almost need no fly line
Okay.
out, okay? You're gonna make this cast and you've got this little stump of a tree behind you that you can catch on.
Oy. Okay.
So that's why we're gonna make a short cast and you are just gonna drop these flies right on that foam line and just let them drift.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would come stand over here as close as you can.
Is that going to put me in the tree though?
If you just kind of flop them out there,
Okay. How much do I need to put out?
maybe that much. That's about it.
Okay.
Okay, go
I'm
for
worried
it.
about the tree.
Oh, did you see that? Set it. Oh,
There
did you see that?
I did.
Did you see him come up and eat it?
I didn't see him come up and eat it, but I saw the,
The fly move?
yeah.
Okay, throw it back out there. I guarantee there's more in there.
All right, here we go. That wasn't very
You
good.
gotta go a bit more to your right.
Oh, to my right. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh!
There you
Fish
go.
on! Fish on! Ah! What do I do? I'm stripping! Ah! Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Are you supposed to say fish on?
Yeah, you did it all perfect, Laura. That was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, I see spots.
So when we grab fish, we don't want to squeeze, because how do you feel when you get squeezed too hard around the middle?
Angry.
Yeah, the fish can feel the same way. So you want to hold it very gently,
Okay.
right? And all you're going to do is you're going to pick it up, you're going to look at Alex and smile.
Okay.
Remember, no more than 5 seconds out of
Right.
the water.
Okay.
And then you're just gonna lower your hands into the water and he will swim right off.
Just like right here.
Yep, just right there in front of you.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh boy. Hi. Does it matter where I hold him?
Right like that is perfect.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, let him go.
Thank you.
Hey, that was freaking awesome. I love it.
Let's do it again.
Let's do.